earth suit would be able to do that naturally. And usually how you basically activate is you got to take out all the drugs like food, coffee, it's just like that. That's why fasting, when I fast, I have so much more elevation. Okay. So what someone has to do with doing like ayahuasca or peyote or whatever they do, you can just do without eating anything, because food is a drug. Take out all the carnal things, stop having sex and so on, and basically it'll elevate you, because this is your biosuit. Your biosuit has all the capability of accessing point references, especially if you aren't capped with your DNA. You can access portals, different things like that, but you got to take out all the carnal things like liquor, drugs, everything. Mushroom. I don't care if it's mushrooms have a whole different kingdom. Do you see the mushroom kingdom? Listen, the elemental realm is beautiful, but they have a kingdom. You ever see the mushrooms? They're unicellular, right? They're unicellular. They also they have a collective consciousness, right? So one mushroom can access all the different realms that all the mushrooms have, all the mushrooms in different dimensional realms, right? So they're all connected. You know what I mean? It's very fascinating. That's why when people do mushrooms, they have access to those, whatever the elemental realm has access to, they usually are able to go inside of that. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying they aren't having experiences, but I'm talking about outside the firmament. So a real contactee who's having access to beings outside the firmament, they aren't doing those. But people who have access to the other realms inside the firmament, yeah, you got the elementals, where you got the trolls, the fairies, you got the pixies, you got the elves, you got, what else? You've got the mushrooms. You've got, who else is in that kingdom? Because the mushrooms are all in that kingdom. That's where you access them in the elemental realm. Yeah. They're fungus. Yeah. So they have a different realm. So that's why I think people who do mushrooms, if you ever listen to them, it sounds like they're accessing in between those realms within the kingdoms in the elemental realms. Because you hear them. You can hear them talk about it. It's very interesting. You know what I mean? Okay. It's different beings that live there. So it isn't that they aren't having, I don't want to make it seem like they're not having contact, but everything they're having contact with is underneath the dome. Okay. And if you know we're living in a simulation, what does that tell you? The beings that they're in contact with are in the simulation. Did you hear me? The beings that they're having contact with are part and in the simulation. So it doesn't matter if they're fairies or so on, they're all underneath the dome. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, the pole shift is coming, y'all. We're in a simulation. The simulation is ending. We got the whole NPCs are disappearing. Okay, they're disappearing, and you should be prepared. Okay, so how they disappear, it could be a grand, event, like people just a big booms. All these people leave. Something like they get shotted up with a new shot. People start. Now, if you look at all the celebrities, I mean, every day they're talking about soccer player transition. They're talking about this guy transition. Those are all because it's a combination platter. It's a geo-engineered Kukurachi kill shot, which 3 years. Remember, they told you 3 years people would start transcending. Remember that? The Kukurachis. Kukuracha. See, as soon as I say it, that's how you know we're in a simulation. As soon as I say something, this is the simulation will activate things to be distractive. Isn't it amazing? Yeah. Okay. So, hold on. Hi, babe. Hi, babe. Babette's here with me. Okay. So there will be grand standard events that people will disappear. Okay, they got to create it because it's a simulation. They can't make you know it's a simulation. What's the point of being in a video game when you know you're in a video game, right? So come on, Cookie. So mass people will disappear, and that has to do with the Kukuracha shot. Okay, the Kukuracha shot said they had 3 years shelf life. Okay, do you remember that? The Kukurachi shot said they had 3 years shelf life. I remember because we were on Zoom. Hold on. Lola, what do you see, Lola? It's a simulation, y'all. As soon as I'm about to tell you something. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So, the simulation's ending, and what's going to happen is that they're going to create these fake narratives. Also, they gave the Cucarachi kill shot, and in 2020, many of you remember when I told you about it, it wasn't me who said it. It was all of the archives and the governmental system said they have a 3-year shelf life, and at 3 years, people start leaving this stratosphere, this simulation, and it already started because most people didn't get the Cucarachi kill shot until 2021. So if you realize they got the Cucarachi kill shot in 2021, then you'll realize that the transitions that you're starting to see happen are happening right on time. It's unfortunate, but they are going to be okay. They'll come back in the simulation for another loop. If they most likely got the Cucarachi kill shot, they're here for the looping. Okay, it's low jacking them to the reality underneath the firmament. So they got low jacked into the firmament. So basically, they may experience, now remember, they can be survivors inside of the simulation post pole shift. They can survive it, but they're tethered now because they took the Cucarachi kill shot. That's why they had certain people get it. The Cucarachi kill shot tethers you to the simulation. So you will be coming back for a loop. You might experience, if you survive the pole shift, then you get to enjoy the amenities of being on the surface while the dark Kabbalists are all underneath the ground plotting and planning for their resurgence on the surface of the simulated moon surface, okay? So, but for those who hadn't gotten the Cucarachi kill shot and you were going to stay to reach 0 point, you wake up out of the simulation, okay? So you wake up in your pod. I'm one of the people who will usher you to incentivize you to leave with your one of the 12 tribes, the 12 groups that entered into this simulation. So you will exit left or right going into your groups that you came in with, and you will be going to 0 point where you will wake up out of the simulation in your pods. Okay, so remember, it is like a video game too. As the closer you get to waking up and going to your final destination to exit the simulation, you're going to have challenges and tests, because the only way that you can wake is you have to reach a certain frequency altitude. So once you reach a certain, the whole concept of like bringing your heart against a feather, like my aunt, that's why you aren't to take in sides or take too much data that's going to lower your frequency with sadness, depression, loathing. Those are all things that would make you really heavy and disallow you from reaching 0 point. Okay, so it's important for you to do that. So for those who are deciding to exit with your 12 groups, they call them tribes. It's 12 groups that exited last time. We're going back to 0 point. You will start to experience the merging back with your groups in order to end the simulated world, okay? But for those who are staying, who are tethered to it, it doesn't mean it's the end all be all for you. It just means that you're going to experience the pole shift. And for that reason, you probably should just pay attention to your geographical locations and start to really anchor yourself with a certain level of preparedness, okay? Because you in it for the long haul. Now, if you survive the pole shift, you're going to have an amazing time, because then it's going to be really safe. All these NPCs are going to be gone. All these diabolical bastards, they go underneath the ground because they can't handle the magnetic energy because they're so low vibrational. They'll all be underneath the ground for like a good, I think it's quite a few years. Also, you won't have to worry about, you may have to be concerned about the cyborgs, because the cyborgs are weather proofed. So the cyborgs, that whole Terminator thing, that might be an issue. I don't know. So, I'm just assuming, because they're, like I said, they may have biological outside exterior, but the skeletal is all metal and it's probably waterproof. So these suckers might be, maybe the Dark Kabbalists created them so they can kind of control the narrative. So there's ways you could deal with those cyborgs, because remember, anything that requires to be powered by something can be taken out too. So we'll have the discussion at another time, okay? Please refrain. The war is all preordained. orchestrated. If you think it's real, like, you will see people really transition because it's all in alignment with the whole reset. So, you know, people leave during this time. All your favorite celebrities, all your favorite shows, especially if they have a nostalgic feeling inside of you, they're going to take them out first because they need to clear you. Reset is also clearing your memory of beings here that made you have reminiscence of certain time frames, okay? Because they got to clear it. All right. Do know that all your foods, everything is being, Bill Gates is Bill Ill Gates, right? B is a 13, ill is his last name, Gates. So he's the illness gate. Okay. He's the gate of illness. So B is a 13, ill is after his name, and Gates. So he's ushering people into sickness. Anything like I told you about the Bragg's apple cider vinegar pissed me off. Using the artificial apple of skins to make the apple cider vinegar pissed everybody off. There's a whole bunch of things too. Yes, the coffee of mass destruction. You got Starbucks. All of them is, and also do know, like with all McDonald's and Starbucks, remember they're saying the Palestinians were saying they're striking all that. That is not just them saying that, y'all. It's part of the simulation. They're telling you to not engage with them if you support Palestine, but the simulation is going to counter that with saying if you don't support them, they're going to penalize you like they did in New York. It's all cap, y'all. You aren't supposed to be eating McDonald's. Why would you think that I don't care if the Palestinians told you or not. That's what I'm saying. They're going to capture you some way or not. You shouldn't be eating McDonald's. You shouldn't be, listen, you get on me with Starbucks saying it's chemicalized, nanobots. Yes, all these things are unhealthy anyway. So you already know that we're not supposed to touch them anyway. So there's like the simulation on one hand will tell you not to touch it because of a cause, because of the Palestinians, right? But really in itself, it's not that. It's incentivizing you to stay away from the very thing that is going to lower your frequency. It isn't health conscious, okay? So it's very important. No, Katy Perry bought it, but remember, she started to get in bed and, conceptually, she started to do things with Bill Gates. He started to be connected to that, okay? So for that reason, it's important for you to just pay attention to, and, I'm going to do I'm not going to do a fast, y'all. I'm going to begin to, power my body naturally again. I'm going to start to use my body to maximum capacity as I know we're getting close to reset and also waking up out of the pod fully. So what I decided to do is I'll go, and some of you would join me. I think I don't want to do it because during this time, people come over, the holidays, all the satanic rituals going on that other family members engage with. I'm going to start to power my body without utilizing food. Many of you know I did the 30-day water fast and I looked and felt amazing. I personally think the reason why most indigenous bulk, big up to Alex for noticing that, most indigenous women, we bulk because we're eating a lot of the colonizers' foods. So you'll see someone like me and you say, oh, she's a fatty, she eats a lot of food. It isn't true. It's the foods that have been progenerated to the native women. It causes inflammation and it causes bulking, okay? Because I personally know now that the indigenous women weren't eating. There's a movie that talks about the women in a woman in South America. I forgot, it's called Green something. What is it called? Green something, Green Frontier. And remember, she didn't drink or eat. And she just basically, and she was able to make herself invisible and kind of cloak herself in a tree. I personally know now the reason why most women, especially women of color, because a lot of them are indigenous, we bulk because we weren't eating. Eating is an artificial thing that was progenerated by colonization. Colonizers brought the concept of eating because they had to eat. If they don't eat, they go and get skinny like nothing. You know what I mean? Look at Survivor. Survivor will show you how some people cannot eat and they basically waste away. Whereas most indigenous women, we basically can self-sustain ourselves without food and limited water. So I realized that I'm one of those beings. So how did I know this? Is by fasting all these years and noticing that when I totally stopped taking in food from the outside, my body actually is at maximum capacity and is healthy. So I decided probably before the New Year's, Chinese New Year's, okay, the real New Year's, I'm deciding to go and power my body naturally. I'll probably go into raw for a while, and then I will start to become a breatharian. Okay. And I will do this because I feel like I benefit and my body is made for that. So I wouldn't suggest everyone do it because, again, if you aren't built to be self-sustaining with your body, meaning that my body, if I don't eat, I will be fine. Like if somebody else doesn't eat for 50 days, they gonna wither away and they'll pass away. With my body, I notice that I'm fine without eating. A lot of indigenous women, we bulk. If you look at the Samoans, all the women over in Polynesian islands, if you notice, they only became chunky when they were exposed to colonizing foods. Foods are like starches, potatoes, things that aren't indigenous to those places. I noticed now that indigenous women, we weren't eating. We weren't eating at all. And we had water occasionally. I think we had fruit, high fruit off the trees, but I have a feeling we didn't eat. That's why we bulked when colonizers came to our areas. And previous to colonizers coming, we weren't bulky. Okay, that's just my opinion, and I'll be able to vet this out. So for those, those who are deciding to, I don't think I want you to join because I don't know if that'll be unhealthy for you, but I really feel like for those of you who are deciding to really become sovereign in your own biosphere, your own biotechnology, I think you should start preparing your body to be totally self-reliant. I think that is something that the indigenous did quite naturally. And I think we need to return to that because they're poisoning all the food and water anyway. So we might as well become self-sustaining so that we can actually, have our good minds while we're going through this before reset. And it isn't a lot of time. Time is an artificial construct, but if you know that we're about to go through something in 2 years, which normally would have taken like 50, it's probably the time that we need to work on that. So I'll probably go raw. Come on, Cookie. I'm probably going to go raw for a while first. And some of you can join me. I love raw because, I did raw. I'm more of a raw person coming from another place. But I think I'm going to go raw for a while. And if you guys want to join me, we'll probably start in about, I think in January, if you guys want to start around January, we could start up. Start clearing out all your metals and everything. Do your EDTA, do your clearing out. Because once we go into raw and we start to go into breatharianism, we're going to be higher beings. So we want to make sure we get rid of all the nanotechnology. So we'll start to work on that on Wearby and Zoom. We'll start to build we're going to build like a routine to start to clear out the metals, then clear out any parasites, because it'll make it easier for us to go into breatharianism, and then we'll go into raw. Like we'll slowly transition. It's the holiday. I'm not going to tell anyone to do it because a lot of you are going to practice your last years of the holidays. It's probably the last couple of years you're going to see holidays in this way. So you can enjoy your time there, and then we'll start going around January, around after, because I would like to start fully during the dragon year. When the dragon year begins, we'll start to go and start our journey through raw and going into breatharianism. If you want to join, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. I realized that eating food and having food isn't part of my genetic makeup. And as an indigenous woman, my body wasn't made for foods, especially those that came after colonization. So I realized why you always calling women fat, black women and all that kind of stuff is because you're right. Because most indigenous women that are brown, we weren't eating food. Okay. And I think they told us we did all the pyramid food, telling you have to eat 3 meals a day. That all, listen, all the inflammation food, telling you to eat white flour, telling you to eat white flour, white rice, things that basically break down your system. Indigenous women weren't doing that. That's why we're suffering now. Okay. With all the kind of craziness, fibroids and all that stuff, that's all from the food. It's all death food. Remember, they're death worshipers too. They worship death all the time. Look at their Halloween celebrations. They don't worship Halloween with their ancestors. They worship death. They dress up as death people, dead bodies, hanging bodies from the tree during Halloween. They're death worshiper. Everything on their money with dead trees, with dead people on the trees. They worship death behavior. They worship death. All their movies that they watch on television have to do with death. They're death worshipers. So why would you be involved with beings that are progenitors of death? Like it's because that's all they know. They're beings that are only encapsulated in this triple OG life sentence of a looper. So all they do is obsess with death. They jump out of planes. They do crazy things because they don't really worship life. They aren't life bringers. They aren't life worshipers. They worship death. Even the music they will listen to is like spiking your water, making you like sickly. I mean, all this Satanism, killing baby, that's all death culture. Okay? In order to bring in more light codes, we have to have more light. And in order to have more light, we really have to stop engaging in death, like death of things, like death culture, like exchange. You know, that's what I'm saying. The whole monetary system that's getting rid of paper money, that's also, we think that it's negative. It isn't. We shouldn't be using the tree's skins as a form of exchange. That's their death. So you using the money in itself, the paper money, is death culture with dead presidents, right? It's all death. Like everything, like the things that we do is all death. Like just having a lack of compassion for the cows and their death, drinking the very milk. You'll demonize a woman who has natural breast milk, but you'll basically worship cows and ice cream and all that stuff, where the mother's milk is being robbed from her to give you ice cream and cheese, but then her milk is being given to strangers, where her baby calf can't even get milk from her mother. This is the kind of culture we live in. Demonize a natural woman who has natural milk, but basically worship cow drinking, pus drinking people who believe in hurting baby cows and mothers of baby calves, and drinking that milk and eating pizza and cheese like that's nothing. But they'll tell you they're conscious though, right? As they eat a nice greasy slice of pizza, right? Right? Okay? And then I remember that, you know, anyway, I don't want to go into that. Okay, y'all. I think it's enough. So tonight, I gotta get ready for tonight. Tonight we'll be on again on Weirby, probably Zoom, wherever we'll be. Join us tonight on Zoom or Weirby. We're gonna get into this.